Hello and welcome to my dream library. Subject to change, subject to growth, subject to mood shifts, but this is pretty close to my dream library. Long-term viewers of my channel will know that I have moved around a lot. When I first started this channel, I was a digital nomad living in Korea, Japan, all around Europe, North America. And then during the pandemic, I started to really build up the channel, but I didn't have a home of my own. I didn't have a library. I didn't have many books. 2 years ago, I moved up to Scotland. I got myself a flat. And then a year ago, I moved flats again. And during those multiple moves, my partner and I kept... It doesn't matter. The point is, I have my own dream library now, and I want to show it to you. Something I always bear in mind when I'm organizing my bookshelves is the fact that this isn't just my personal library. This is also a makeshift film set for these videos, so I have to bear in mind what looks good as a backdrop. And a good example is this wooden easel that I always have in the background. Half the time I put my book on this easel, or I rest whatever book I'm talking about. And I thought I put it in the right place, but now I'm wondering if it needs to go down. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I mean when things are going to change and move around, whatever. It's a constant argument between aesthetics and practicality. But I'm pretty happy with it, so why don't we do a tour? To start off with, this is 6 Billy bookcases from IKEA, because price matters. And it's about 2.5 meters tall, but the ceilings in this room are actually about 3 meters, and I'm really tempted to go up again. Because these bookcases were initially 2 meters tall, and then I bought these extra extension things to sit on top to add another like 40 centimeters, and I can do that again, which I might in the future. Then I would need a ladder, and I mean, like, who doesn't want a ladder in their library? And what you see here in these shelves is pretty much every book that I own except for what's on my TBR, and I actually have 2 TBRs in 2 different rooms in my flat. But I talk about my TBR a lot, so I'm not going to show you those as well. On these shelves is everything that I own that I have read. But I said at the start of the video that I have moved around so much in my life, and so the amount of books that I no longer own is staggering. This is not every book I've ever read, this is just what I have. 3 years ago when I met my partner, all the books I owned could fit in a suitcase. Now, I have this, and there is loads of space left here. Now, as to how I've organized the shelves, the very top row that you can't see is basically miscellaneous hardbacks and a Game of Thrones box set. Because up until now, I've literally never organized my books. Every time I take a book off a shelf to talk about it in a video or to reread it or to give it to a friend or whatever, when I put it back, I just find a space. This time, my books are slightly more organized in 2 vague ways. Number 1, if I own multiple books by one author, they're all together. I know, revolutionary. And I've tried to put them in order that they came out as well. I don't think I've succeeded because I wasn't really paying attention. And the other thing I've done is organized by genre. There is no alphabet here, there is no color scheme, but I have kind of organized by genre. So as I said, top row, they're all hardbacks and they're all kind of miscellaneous. I just thought it looked nice. I really didn't think about it too much. Then, over my shoulders here, there are 2 rows that are pretty much all fantasy and science fiction. One shelf is pretty much dedicated to R.F. Kuang, for example. This shelf above me here, obviously Samantha Shannon, because her books are the most beautiful books in the history of fantasy. Oh my god, they're so gorgeous. I've got some cloth-bound Terry Pratchett's here. But again, none of them are alphabetized. It's just all the fantasy and sci-fi books that I own. Then as you go further down, you get into the horror section. And I've kind of blended horror, dark academia, and gothic. Right behind me are a few shelves dedicated to gothic fiction, both classic and modern, but gothic is sort of wedged inside of horror. Then after the horror section, we start to get into kind of loose subcategories. Like I've got all of Kazuo Ishiguro's books together, because he and R.F. Kuang are my 2 favorite writers. Then aside from the mystery stories, pretty much every Japanese book that I own, because a lot of Japanese fiction that gets translated is literary fiction or speculative fiction. It's hard to kind of bracket a lot of the Japanese books that we get in translation. I've also put all my Charco Press books together, but they are in no particular order. They do look really nice together though, and I've never put all my Charco books in one place. If you don't know who Charco Press are, they are based here in Scotland, in Edinburgh specifically. They are wonderful friends of mine, and they they publish Latin American fiction in translation. They do an amazing job, and I've found some of my favorite authors in the whole world through what they do. Authors like Selva Almada, Claudia Pinheiro, and Ariana Harwitz. Then, after the Chaco Press section, I've kind of put in weird books by weird women. I've made videos about this before. It's a strange vibe, but these are all books that are by women that are really messed up. So all my strange girlies are just smushed together, along with Claire Keegan. Now, arguably, Claire Keegan doesn't fit that category, but she is absolutely wonderful. So amongst the weird girlies doing weird stuff, we've got authors like Jenny Haval, Eliza Clark, Lucy Rose, Otessa Moshfegh, K-Ming Chang, Bora Chung, and Olga Tokarczuk. All amazing, weird women. I was also under the massive misunderstanding that my collection of Greek mythology retellings was a lot bigger than it is. It's like 5 books. I don't know where they've all gone, but these are the ones that I've got now. It's definitely not all the ones that I've read. I've done multiple videos about Greek mythology retellings, but these are the ones I have. Must have got rid of the others. I don't know. Oh, and then we have a shelf of Agatha Christie books and other mystery and thriller novels. Some of these are Japanese. There's a YA trilogy in there, which I really like. There's also a shelf of stuff that I basically forgot to categorize, and I was tired by the time I got to it. That includes a few dark academia books and stuff that I wasn't sure how to categorize it. Some stuff that's kind of gothic, some stuff that's literary, and The Hunger Games. I don't know where to put that. Then, right in the bottom corner down here, we've got books that I don't like, but I keep them in order to talk about them, make fun of them, use them to illustrate a point, something like that. Then I have all of my non-fiction books, and I've turned the LGBTQ plus history book on its side, Pride of Place, partly because I'm queer and I want people to see that, but also because I did the audiobook for that book. So if you listen to the audiobook, it's me, although I did sound really, really different when I filmed it. Filmed it, recorded it, made it, whatever. For a while, about 2 years ago when I was living in London, I wanted to be an audiobook narrator, and I was starting to find success. I did 1 audiobook. It paid well. I was like, oh my god, this is my new career. Along with being a YouTuber and a writer, I get to do this. And then my agent had to shut down their agency. It was a 2-person team. One of them got sick and the other one retired. I tried to get a new agent and I literally didn't get any emails back. It was weird, and then I moved up to Scotland and I thought, screw it. Never mind. I'll focus on writing my own books, and I'd love to do more audiobooks. If anyone watching this is an agent for audiobook narration, hit me up. I'd love to do more. I got a foot in the door, I recorded an audiobook, and then... Oh well. You can see that the non-fiction section is pretty small because I don't read a lot of non-fiction. And then, much to my shame, the section that's even smaller is poetry. Partly, I guess, that's because poetry books are typically really small, but also I just haven't bought enough poetry books. I feel embarrassed about that because I am a published poet. In fact, several of the poetry books on this shelf are books that I am in. And then, right along the bottom, kind of weighing everything down, are all of my comic books. Now, again, like I said, I've gotten rid of so many countless books over the past 10 years as I've moved around from place to place. And the biggest casualty of that is comic books. I used to be a voracious comic book collector. Like, bigger than you think. It would surprise you how many comic books I used to own. And now, what I have left is a shadow of what I once had, stuff that I just couldn't bear to part with, so I dumped it with friends or my parents' house or whatever. But the collection is also growing again. I have a local independent comic book shop that I visit usually once every week on a Sunday. When I go in, I chat with my friend Mark who works there. He's a lovely guy, and I buy a comic book. So a lot of what you can see here is stuff that I've rebuilt, and I'm really proud of that. I love comics, and it's nice to be back collecting them again. One thing I forgot to mention is that while I was sorting all of this out, I realized that I have 5 beautiful Everyman library books, and so I put them in a nice little thing. But the shelf that they're sitting on, notice that the shelf is backwards. It is the only one that I messed up, and it was the first one. So my partner is going to paint that at some point because I'm not good at painting. Just going to paint it white and hope that it looks fine. Obviously, Frankenstein is sitting here, pride of place. It has to. She always does. She deserves it. And to finish off, I think I'm just going to show you a few books that maybe I've never talked about before. For example, this absolutely stunning edition of Pride and Prejudice. This is really new. Well, I think it's old, but it's new to me. This was a birthday present from my best friend, Tom. I went to visit him a few weeks ago and he handed me this. My birthday was months ago, but he just didn't post it. Thank you, Tommy. This edition is from the Cranford collection, and it is basically a recreation of the original cover of Pride and Prejudice, the very first edition. It's not a first edition, just to be clear. It's just like a reimagining of that cover, and I think it's really special, so I've got it standing up here. Here's a book that I've never talked about, and it's really, really cool. As you can see, this is written in Macedonian. This book was created by my friend Simon. Simon is a Macedonian architect whom I met in Tokyo. While I was living in Tokyo the second time, I met this woman called Zoria. She's a journalist who I think currently works as an editor for Tokyo Weekender magazine. She and her husband Simon are from Macedonia, and after I left Tokyo, I got an email from Simon explaining that he was creating this special book. It's full of illustrations that he created, which all together produce a world. It's a really fascinating thing. You can kind of see it as an encyclopedia of a made-up, grim-dark fantasy world. Simon had an idea of what this world was, and instead of writing this world, he drew it because he's an incredible artist. And then he had this fun idea of reaching out to all of his friends who are writers, and he asked us to pick a picture from inside this book and write a short story based on it. He told us a little bit about the world and how everything works, the good guys, the bad guys, the government, the religion, etc., etc. And then he said, just write a short story that slots into this world. So I went through it, I found a picture, and I wrote a story that was just a page long, and it was written as a letter from a little girl who lives in a village, and she's writing this letter to a friend, describing these strange people who've come to the village. These strange people are like cops, and they have these monstrous looking bug dog things, and the little girl is frightened. And I wrote this story inspired by that picture, and it's in here, but it's written in Macedonian. I'm guessing that Zoria and Simon translated all of these books from English into Macedonian. I don't know, but I got sent a copy when it was published, and this is it. And it sits on my shelves, and I've literally never talked about it. But it's so cool. This is my story, in case you're interested. This is the art that inspired it, and this is my story here, written in Macedonian. Isn't that cool? Simon's great. And he and his wife are really hot. I think that's worth noting. Like I said, all of this is kind of a work in progress, but it's big, it's tall, and I'm so happy with it. Also, down here on the floor, I don't know if it made it into any of the footage, but all the tools that I used are still out because as I film this, my parents are driving up to see me for the weekend. I live in Scotland and they live like 8 hours drive away. They're coming all the way up to see me for the weekend, and I have asked my dad if he can secure these to the wall because right now these are just freestanding, all of them together, and I need my dad to go up there. My dad's like 62, 63. I need him to go up there on a ladder. My dad's a carpenter by trade, so he knows what he's doing. And I just need him to attach them to the wall because I built these with my bare hands. It's like the most butch thing I've ever done. But I'm too scared to attach them to the wall. So I'm going to ask my dad to do it. So that's why the tools are out, because I need my dad to do it. I'm too scared. I used a drill. I used a power drill. My dad always knew I wasn't going to take after him. Like, even before I transitioned, even when I was a guy, he was just like, no. No, she's too bookish. Exhibit A. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now, and I shouldn't move around too much because, like I said, these are not secure yet. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I've never done one before. The last time I did something like this, I ranked all of my books, and that video did terribly, so hopefully this one did better. Anyway, welcome to my new book space, my new filming location, it's in the same place, but anyway, this is my library. This is my dream library. I did it, I made it, I'm really proud of it, and it feels good. This feels really good. It feels really cool. It's awesome. If you enjoyed this, then I deserve money, so support me on Patreon. Buy a copy of my book because it's spooky season and these are spooky stories. Go to the link in the description and buy a copy of Managing and Other Lies by me. I wrote these. They're great horror stories. Get spooky in spooky season and join my Patreon because then I can buy extensions and make the shelves even taller, and that would be fun. Not that you can see it, but I'll show you. I want them to reach the ceiling. Okay, bye. Subscribe for books.